Hi, folks. Welcome back to Patriot LinkedIn Live. We're doing release notes today of Forrest and Jake. Welcome back, guys. What do you got for
Hey,
us this week?
how are you?
Doing
We
well.
I guess technically two releases, but
Ooh.
we released the 5.11, and then very quickly after that we released the 5.11.1. There
Ooh.
were a
Yeah.
few bugs in the .0 release, but that is a, a testament to the engineering team. I'm going to give them a ton of kudos for that. They found them quickly, they fixed them quickly. I think it was just a few days if you factor in the weekend of getting that turned around. So,
Awesome.
but I can jump straight into our usual release notes
Yeah,
view
let's do it.
here. Right, share share screen and I wonder if this will work for me.
Here we go.
Okay, so we've got our release notes here. We're going to focus on the 5.11.0 release notes page because that
Okay.
has all the great information. There is a link here to the 5.11.1, which is also available on download sites, etc. But the biggest news is we added our MongoDB job step plugin. It is
Ooh.
a workflow step that allows you to run commands against your MongoDB instances. Um, this has been a popular request with certain customers to leverage that, and we got that done. I believe, and it's I'm blanking right now, but this was started actually internally. It didn't originate with engineering team. Jake, do you remember who it was? Can we give a shout out to that internal resource? I do not
I
remember.
think it was Gabrielle, who's no, actually has moved on from PagerDuty, but started with one of our solutions consultants. Did a lot of the plugin development and then passed it over to us.
Oh,
Oh,
nice.
yeah. So that's it's been great to do that. We've done that with a few other upcoming. I think I've teased them in the past. Some other upcoming enhancements where the plugins, right, and our ability to extend Rundeck starts elsewhere. We love the head start, and often they're the better ideas because it's coming straight from the field or coming straight from a use case that someone actually you know has and some burning desire that they took the time to write some code. Um, so yeah, it's just great when we get that. We took this on, we formalized it, and it's released in the products.
Nice.
Um, and a little bit for the future, we're also going to duplicate this after we released it. We realized we also probably want one of these as a node step. So right now, as I said, it's a workflow step. You can run it, and have it connect directly to your Mongo server. Once it's a node step, we would be able to have it run in the runner, as well as if you had multiple Mongo servers that you needed to run commands on, you could sort of span that out across multiple Mongo servers, one command. I'm hoping I'm going to refresh this page because I had just done a quick update and added a how-to article. So we have our usual docs about the plugin and just the configuration bits about it. But I was also able to quickly throw together a kind of in-depth how-to article on here, so you can come in. It will help you set up some basic examples and show you how to get started with the job, walk you through those steps. In addition, there's a job definition here that will create a nice complicated example Mongo database. Then you can run other commands. Shortly, we'll have some example jobs in our solutions database, and be able to run with that. So tons of content out here on the MongoDB release from this 5.11. And it seems to be a database kind of theme this release. One of our it's always great also internally when we have groups that are using the product. They start to use it and say, hey, I need this, and one of our engineers, one of our developers said, "Hey, our SQL query job doesn't really output the data in a useful format. So now you can pick the formats that you would like to have that come out in. You want JSON or CSV or some other output for those. You can do that as well."
Oh, nice.
Beyond that, yep, go ahead.
Yeah, before moving on, like just on the topic of the MongoDB plugin, maybe you want to just click on the image there to kind of zoom in and show everyone what that looks like. So you can run any arbitrary MongoDB command from this plugin, and why would you want to do this in Rundeck or in Runbook Automation? And there's ways that you could do this with a script or an API call, but baking it into a plugin makes much more plug and play. But the use cases around this are pretty far reaching, right? You might have MongoDB serving as the data store for some internal tools, and you might have some data pipelines that are dependent on Mongo. And so you want to be able to self-serve for certain teams to be able to carry out certain procedures, against Mongo for those internal tools, or even if Mongo is part of your production data store for your production applications. Again, you might have certain routine procedures to check diagnostics of certain data tables in there, or I guess Mongo calls them documents, and do some data validation or some diagnostics. You might even have certain routine commands for certain procedures, and this all comes back to allowing users who either don't have the expertise with MongoDB, or you don't want to give them direct kind of full-fledged access to your Mongo database. Put that into a Rundeck job and a simplified self-service interface. And so this just makes authoring those types of workflows much easier, because you don't have to write the communication to Mongo in a script or in some very sophisticated API call. We take care of all of that here in the plugin itself. So it's just a little bit background of kind of use cases and the why behind them.
We're gonna show a few of those in the demo too coming up.
Great.
Awesome.
So beyond that, we definitely continued with the meat and potatoes, if you will, of our releases. CVEs are fixed. Other bugs and other items just addressed by the team there. So I think with that said, we can take a look at some of these example jobs I put together this morning. This is our basic command example. We'll take a look at the definition before we run it. I am using a local, setup of MongoDB, and this is sort of the same database that is listed in that how-to article I showed. But here is the configuration of our step, and this is just going to find all of the documents in the collection called products in our MongoDB database of e-commerce DB. So,
Forrest, would you mind zooming in or increasing the resolution on there? There we go. Great.
Let's go back in there and make sure that everyone can see that. Must be my new glasses. I can see that. Yep. So again, this is just the server name, generic server name, the database name that's configured again from that example that we have out on the doc site, and this is the command we're going to run. Our key storage, has our password and username here is root. I need to make a few adjustments to some of that to align it with the how-to. But we'll go ahead and run this job, and we can see that the output comes back with all of our JSON of the laptop, the smartphone, and the coffee maker that are in our products that we are selling online. And this is the basic example, but as Jake was saying, you can streamline some of these jobs for folks that might need to maybe you have someone that needs to constantly get order statistics, or you want to schedule that and send it somewhere else. So if we wanted to run our order statistics job, we can take a look at the output and see that our average order amount currently is around $1,000 that are completed, and the ones that are processing are around 800. You could then turn that into maybe another API call that feeds something else, or just simply feed it to your data system and track those over time. That sort of data transfer is kind of a common use case that the customers will use for that.
Right. Or you might have using the e-commerce example, or even an internal application, like you need to do some data reconciliation and you just haven't built out the full-fledged feature for how to do that. And so you need to go in and modify this record or delete some value from some record such that you can do that reconciliation. This just makes that doable in a quicker and safer, more auditable manner.
Right. And then there's another example here. This was more just to provide more Mongo examples of how to do joins within the code within this JSON here. All of this is based on, if we go to our docs page here, there's a reference page here for, I ran into this earlier. I'm not trying to put them on blast, but I think MongoDB's site is down today. I think I still have the page cached over here. Do I still have it? No, I don't. I ran into this earlier today. I think they're having trouble. So I feel bad showing that.
Just their doc site.
But I promise when you click this link, it does go to a nice long list of command references. I don't know. Jake, are you getting that at mongodb.com too? It's not just me.
Their root of their doc site is up. So
all right. Well, I promise. Come check out the link there. Yeah. So MongoDB, looking forward to customers sharing their use cases with us. You can do that in our community forums. I think there's probably a link that we can put up on how to get into those and where to go.
Yeah.
Anything else that we want to mention, Jake? That
well, it's just going to show what the addition to the SQL command runner looks like. You now just have this drop down of the format to show the data in the format that you would like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have that handy? I didn't.
Nice.
I was scrambling this morning to get the Mongo stuff organized and refreshed. Do you happen to have one of those?
Yeah. So here's the SQL run step. I actually don't have a sample job set up in this RVA instance, but you have your SQL command. It's again very similar to the Mongo plugin that we were just showing, but this is the SQL run step plugin that we've had for a while. And so you can run any SQL command again. So very similar use cases you might want to use this for. But if you are either printing the output of these commands in Runbook Automation, or you want to then use that data in subsequent steps, formatting that data automatically into a table if you're just visualizing it in the logs, or to JSON such that you want to then parse that data to be used in a subsequent step. This just reduces some intermediate step that you would need to do to format that data appropriately. That might just be a simple Python script step after this SQL run step. So this just removes the need for that, and again makes it far more plug and play. And this was actually also spawned by our engineering team for some of our internal use cases. So we use Runbook Automation regularly for our SaaS deployments and our just routine operations of our SaaS application. We use it for updating our documentation. And so, drinking our own champagne with our tool, we realized this is something that would be valuable for us as well as for customers. And so that was a quick fix or a quick enhancement for us as well.
Mandy, is it too early for champagne on this? probably is.
Mimosas are a breakfast or brunch sort of beverage. So,
That's
like,
true.
as long as you mix it with some orange juice, you are golden, man.
All right.
Yeah.
Anytime. Awesome. Well, that's super cool. Is there anything in that you want to call out in the .1 release that folks might want to know about?
So the bugs in the .1 release, one was a UI bug, where selecting one of our key storage selector, you're going to go and pick your password out of key storage. It wasn't working on one of the runner screens. And then another one that are kind of listed here, the changes to the node filters weren't quite being saved properly, and there was another final bug where the runner reports were timing out, and then jobs would kind of stop. And I think that that third one on the list, when we look at the page here, is the one that really drove the urgency of we need to fix this. I should also note that the same bug, that particular same bug, also existed in the 5.10.0 version.
Oh,
We also released a point release to fix it there as well. We didn't,
okay, great.
not really hanging around, out there. So we, went through the trouble of releasing both of those point versions. They both kind of fixed the same things in those original versions. But.
Awesome. Very cool. All right. Anything else you want to share with us before we sign off for today? Do we have handy, like you mentioned that the MongoDB plugin was something that had gotten started sort of grassroots. Do we have handy like documentation for folks who wanted to do their own plugin if anybody was interested in looking at that?
I don't, we didn't even prompt you for this lead-in, but that is a great lead-in. Jake's smiling over there because he's working on some stuff. To directly answer your question, yes, under the development heading.
There it is, plugin development.
Yep, let's go. Let me just go back to the present here, and we'll talk through a few bits on that. And we will tease an upcoming item. So under development section here, we have plugin development, right? And there are tons. I haven't counted these in a while, but there's a ton of different types of plugins that you can write. Workflow steps, node steps, UI plugins. Keep those in the back of your mind. We have some of those coming in the near future, probably with the 5.12 that are going to be really interesting. Webhook plugins, pretty much everything, all the functionality across PagerDuty's Rundeck is implemented through a plugin. Now, these will describe how to write each individual plugin. There's also a tool out there that will create kind of a starting point for you on the plugins. Jake, do you have the link handy to?
Yeah, Mandy linked it. It's called the plugin Bootstrap, and that's a command line bootstrap tool that you can just say, at the command line, you're basically saying, I want to build a Groovy or Java or script-based workflow step plugin, and it will create the directory, all the necessary components for you, and the template code. And we actually updated the templates for the Groovy-based plugin type to match all of our latest standards, and it gives you a pretty detailed template to go off of. And
this one is sort of where we would want the starting point, right? Typically, the script plugins are the easy way to get in.
Yeah.
But the ones that we've taken on, so the Mongo plugin, there's a few others that we have kind of baking in the oven. There's the UI plugins are a little bit different. I think they're JavaScript rather than Java. This is a great tool to get yourself started. Now, the part that Jake and I were more smiling about is we do have an upcoming webinar.
Cool. Okay.
I are are still going to at some point sumo wrestle for who is presenting it. But we're both collaborating on the content of. I think the title's out there, and we'll try and find the link real quick. But it is developing your Rundeck plugins using AI.
Ooh.
Which I have been able to, going back to our list here, I've been able to develop plugins, multiple UI plugins, and an audit events listener plugin, completely using AI, and created functional plugins that the engineering team, was able to just review and put some final touches on and implement into the product.
Nice. That will be, I'm looking at now, Tuesday, April 29th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. And we'll put that link in the notes here too. Awesome. Sweet. Well, actually super good. Like, I know there's lots of folks who are, they use the plugins that are there, but everybody's got custom stuff or odd little bits, that dark corners where you have things hidden that could use a plugin. So
yeah, and I think that it would be great to start, if we can get some momentum, start having some maybe regular office hours. How, if customers are interested in writing their own plugins, they have questions about use cases for certain plugins, or want to help, maybe we need to get some resources together and start doing some of those.
yeah, absolutely. We could do them live so folks could all benefit from the questions. So yeah, all right, that sounds good. So folks out there, if you are interested in this, you can let us know. You can drop a note in the forums. You can send a note to my team or community-team at pagerduty.com. Get in touch with us. You can send a comment on the LinkedIn version of this or on the YouTube version if you're watching it there. Get back to us that you are interested, and we'd love to hear from you and what you want to build plugins for. That'd be awesome. For sure. So, yeah. Well, sweet. Anything you want to tease? Anything else you want to tease coming up in future releases or?
I did already tease the plugins that are coming. There's definitely more. Nicholas, which yes, please.
Nice. Great. We got our first victim there. All right.
Nicholas, clarify your yes, please, so we know what we're looking for. But yeah, the forthcoming UI plugins, I think, are going to be pretty interesting, and helpful for customers. The other bit behind those is we've decided to leave both of those particular plugins will be open source. So if you like what you see, you would be able to look at the code and maybe extend the code, change the code, provide recommendations, etc. More hands-on on ways to provide back to the community and the project. So one of them will be open source, and we'll work with the open source. The other one relies on and provides UI enhancement around some commercial features, or features that are in the commercial product. So while the plugin will be open source and customers could engage with that, the feature behind it will be related to commercials. So, Nicholas, office hours for writing plugins sounds good. I will put that on my follow-up list with Mandy and the other folks in the organization. And I have seen other examples from companies that do it like a happy hour thing. You just sort of, it's like they're just live coding. Like you actually don't know if it's going to work. You just come with an idea, you try it, and you work through the process. Kind of a little bit longer live stream. And Nicholas, thank you for joining. For those that may be watching this later, he is providing comments to us via LinkedIn.
Yes.
And our live stream is hosted on YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, lots of different places.
Yeah.
So.
Well, awesome. Yeah, we'll get that set up and hopefully see some new awesome plugins coming up.
I think that it will be a great lead in after we do our AI presentation.
Yeah.
As well as get these plugins released, because we would be able to use those as a launch point for. I have a few ideas that we could do for that first one on how to get started with it.
Sweet. That sounds amazing. So yeah, everybody out there, sign up for that webinar April 29th. If you sign up but can't make those dates, you will get a recording off of that. So it'll be okay if that doesn't exactly meet your times, but it'll be good to go there. And yeah, watch this space because we'll have more stuff coming up then. It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you so much. We'll see you again in a few weeks.
Talk to you later.
That's
Bye.
good.
All right, everybody. Take care.